All right, welcome on to the court, Pickle with Mickle. I am here with Matt Miller, Maverix Pickleball. Matt, we were just talking a little bit. If you're on the court with me here, that means something awesome dropped from Maverix. Let's take it back from the very first iteration of the Havik paddle. We had the Pro all court. There was the Smash in there. Now we've got the Havik 2. Want to hear all about it. We're going to talk about some other stuff. First of all, Matt, how the heck are you? It's been a little while. You're looking good.
Thanks, man. I am exhausted right now. This week, actually, this past 2 months have been a lot. I've put a ton of time and energy into this Havik 2 launch. If you haven't been able to see on social media, and this last week leading up to the launch was a lot, and then this whole week, it's literally I'm up till 12 or 1 in the morning every night and back up at 5 o'clock. So it's a grind. I'm tired right now, but it's been worth it. Yeah, I mean, we just launched the Havik 2 on Monday, which was a good success. And like I said, there was a lot that went into that. So that was it's always awesome to see, all the hard work actually pay off. Yeah, like you said, it's been a journey. We're on, I don't know what this is, the fourth or fifth iteration of the Havik, or we have or 4 or 5 different models. Yeah, man, it's been a journey, and just kind of building block it or step by step and block at a time to get to the point that we are now. And I think that everything that we've done up to this point, just mistakes and successes, have kind of got us to finally where we have what I feel is the best paddle that we've ever built.
Well, early responses. Anyone I can talk to who's done a review on it, anyone who's managed to have their hands on it, responses are great. And
Yeah,
let's walk back through that process. Like you said, you're exhausted. And I know, Matt, what I've always appreciated is your team, the people you work with, you put the time, you put the effort into how you want the paddle to ultimately end up, what you
right.
want to go into it. You've journeyed abroad to really get into the process and really understand it. As you were beginning to think about it, I mean, from inception to now, what's that timeline? I mean, how many different times were you out there with a prototype like, no, this just isn't it? And if you can, talk about, again, behind the curtain, the folks that help you out.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's an interesting process. Yeah, I mean 2025 was a slow year for us, and I guess it kind of all starts with that. 2024 was a good year. We had come out with the 15 Pro, but then made some big product purchases that year, and then coming into 25 was the flood of the foam paddles. So I kind of sat back, wanted to see what happened, made us take some steps back, but it was also better for our trajectory just to kind of figure out where we wanted to place ourselves in the market and what our strategy was going to be. And kind of going into this Havik 2 launch, there was a couple things that I wanted to do, and because I've seen kind of the success in some different brands, and it's being able to move and being able to come out with new products. And the only way that you can do that really as a small company is to stay light and not allocate too much capital, to multiple models at a time, which I did in the past, which is a mistake. So that was kind of step one, was realizing like, hey, we're going to focus on one product. We're going to stop focusing on t-shirts and hats and all this stuff until we get the paddle right. So that was step one. Step two was like, where do I want to take the brand? And it's really tough because in the pickleball space, the way that I explain it to people is that, not to knock other brands, but everybody's kind of got a white t-shirt with a different logo print on it, if you may. And we came in and invented the V-neck t-shirt and have a patent on it.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it's something different. And so I'm really leaning into that now and the benefits of the shape. And so that was kind of step two, was like, hey, we are going to own the shape. This is us. This is our identity. There's benefits to it. We're going to really lean in and put a lot of time and energy into making the shape better or the paddle better using that shape. So once I decided we wanted the shape, that takes a lot of the work out of it, because we're not, messing with dimensions and stuff. The next part was me having the humility to realize that, I don't have the knowledge and the background that a lot of these guys have to build these really intricate paddles now. And in order to compete, like, I want the best paddle, and I know that I can't do it. So hired Justin Barton, and that was just that was a dream come true working with him. He was awesome, such a great process, and he obviously designed a really good core for that paddle. And so he designed that. We ordered a bunch of prototypes, kind of went through some different iteration phases. I think I don't know how many we went through, 18 different prototypes or something like that, different layups and everything. Yeah, so I don't know, it was probably a 6-month process of actually prototyping, which is I thought was relatively quick because I knew exactly what I wanted with the shape and everything. All Justin needed to do was I needed him to build a core and figure out what we wanted as far as the layup, which is a lot. That's the biggest part.
Right.
Yeah, so it was a 6-month-ish process, but there was a lot of planning prior to that to figure out where we wanted to go. And yeah, came up with the Havik 2, only doing that shape. Like I said, my mindset is, especially when trying to develop a brand, I want to be very specific with what we're doing for now until we're known. And then we can start branching out into other shapes. And I completely am aware that, like, hey, you might like a wide body shape, and so you're not going to buy a Maverix paddle. That's
That's
totally
okay.
fine with me. Yeah, we're leaning into the niche. We're going to find the people that like this shape paddle and then slowly kind of bleed into the other paddles as we grow. And so that's kind
Yeah,
of where
I
we're
think
at now.
Yeah, Matt, I think that's great. I mean, you had
Yeah,
me, from the
yeah,
beginning, not only, the name of company Mavericks, as we talked about a long time ago, the look and the feel of the original Havik was great. And I love the
right.
shape. So let's
Yeah,
park right there for a minute. Obviously, and you mentioned the drop on social media. Hey, let me applaud. Because another thing we've talked about, Matt, is a small company, and I know you've got some social help too, but you've really increased gradually over time as Mavericks has continued to, become more known, get out there in the pickleverse, your social media presence as well. And I think it's a
yeah,
great way to do it. I mean, like you
right,
said, you're a small company. We've skinned our knees a little bit when we wanted to try to have everything. And
right.
what I think it's important for people to hear and to understand, whether you want to be a pickleball paddle company, you've got to wean in, right? A lot of times, the ideas that we have, that we see, that we know we can make great, and then we're standing in the middle of it and going, oh my gosh, this is too much right now. And
Yeah,
so to hear you have the humility to say that, people should respect that. And hey,
yeah,
folks, go buy a Havik 2 and order one, because guess what? The first drop, they gone. You're going to
yeah,
have to wait. But you can follow that on social media from Matt here at Mavericks. But
right,
the other thing I wanted to say in regards to the shape, and you can play with this however you want, is we saw a big paddle company come out with your shape. Now, is
right.
there any patent infringement on that, or because they stick a little hole in there, there's not? Is that healthy
Yeah.
competition, or is this IBM, Microsoft? What we got going on here?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And that was a funny time. So when that first came out, I looked at it like, because a bunch of people sent me obviously the shape, and I'm like, oh, dude, this is a good thing. Because the thing with branding is that when you're trying to be known, if I could have a big brand come out with that shape, now once Mavericks launches the shape, it's not unfamiliar. So I was like, awesome.
Imitation,
I
best form of
yes,
flattery, right?
yes, exactly. I was stoked that they did that because again, it kind of it breaks the ice to the shape for people. So that was that. With that being said, we were granted a patent 4 days after that launched, which so technically it's technically not for patent infringement at this point because we haven't done anything about it. But yes, we do have a patent, a design patent, and then a utility patent pending. But the design patent in itself, yes, technically the Tesla paddle would be infringing on that patent because the way that a design patent works is if you were to take the paddle face as a silhouette, if it can be confused with what my patent is, then it's infringement. And so it doesn't have to be exact. But if you can confuse it, then yes, it's infringing. But with that being said, I mean we're not doing anything about this point. I just having that patent is really important to me because it establishes the brand. Like I said, that's our identity, and we can again love it or hate it. We can build an audience, and we own that audience with that shape, and nobody else can do it.
For sure,
Yeah,
and it's your unique niche. You do have the patent on it, and like you said, now we've forayed into foam, which is where I kind of want to segue, because we
right.
saw early with carbon, then we saw titanium, we see Kevlar, foam, the
Yeah,
newest thing, and you already
right.
mentioned it. Even as a small company, to stay in this game, you've got to be ready
Hmm.
to pivot. You probably got to be 3 years ahead already, thinking what your next paddle might be, even if it's
Yeah,
18 months out or longer.
for
What do you
sure.
see? What are you thinking in the world of paddle tech?
I honestly don't know. What I know is that it'll continue to evolve. I think, and I always thought this from the beginning, and that was kind of the part of 25 where I wanted to slow down because I knew that pickleball is going to get to a place like tennis where we all have the same technology and we're just kind of branding and iterating slightly different. And that was kind of the place that I wanted to get to, because up to this point, I don't want to chase after and compete with Yola and Sulker, because it's not going to happen. And so I kind of wanted to let the dust settle a little bit, and that's where we're at. I think the foam's going to stick around for a bit. I think people are going to continue to iterate, find little, different things that work better than others. And I think people are going to continue to mess around with the foam for a bit. But yeah, I think that we're going to continue to see changes, but I don't know that we're going to see any changes anytime soon that were as drastic as bringing, foam cores into the game. So but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's going to keep evolving, and I mean, the big boys are the ones that are kind of unfortunately at the forefront of all that innovation. And Selkirk and Yola can figure it out, and we'll iterate upon those ideas.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to, and like you mentioned, they're the big ones predominantly that are out there. They've
Yeah,
been there for a little bit. Interestingly enough, and as you mentioned, that numbers come out, and we can make numbers look in a lot of different ways. However, the decline in paddle manufacturers, or at least paddles being submitted for approval to UPA, has been significant over, let's say, the past 18 to 24 months, even so 1 to 2 years. And could it be that maybe some folks, got into the paddle rush, right? The paddle palooza a few years ago, and were over their skis, or has the cost of that compliance to have that stamp on the paddle really precluded some companies from innovating or even moving forward?
I think it's twofold. When we got started, and when I say we, I mean because we all kind of generally started around the same time. All the paddles were pretty much the same. Like I said, they're all white t-shirts, and you just have a different print on it, essentially, right? And so it was very easy as a small company to come in and make a splash. It's not so easy anymore with the way that the innovation's gone. In order to be noticed, you have to do things much differently. So there's that part. I think that it's a lot harder because there's bigger differences between paddles now.
Mhm.
And then, because before, like during the Gen 1, everybody just had a polypropylene core and, edge guard, and it was very basic. Everybody had the same thing. And then, yes, USAP, their costs have definitely gone up, and UPA's astronomical. So UPA is kind of out of the question for the majority of anybody getting into this unless they have some sort of, big financial backing. But yeah, I do think that we will see a decline in paddle manufacturers coming into the game, because it's a lot harder to compete now, which is a good thing
Which
for
is
me.
okay. Because I think, like I called it the paddle rush, the paddle palooza. You and I
Right.
both know just anyone who thought they could tried, and they
Yeah.
either weren't ready for what the infrastructure needed to be, or the fact that it wasn't like the dot-com era. And
Yeah.
just because you could make a paddle meant you were going to sit back on an island and your paddles are just going to start flying off the internet. It's just not
Yeah.
like that. And it's
Yeah.
definitely not like that today. Where I see, and we talked, you mentioned UPA, and so, but for Mavericks pickleball and for other paddle companies per se, necessarily having a UPA stamp on it might not be what you need, because the rec game, the people who are playing pickleball, the people participating a lot, who we want to see swinging different with a Mavericks
Yeah.
paddle, that's still continuing to grow. The people
Right.
who really need that stamp on their paddle are playing in a PPA tournament. And we know that amount of people is way more finite than the rec warriors and the people in these fun leagues to play in, and how we get after pickleball in that nature.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I had to sit there and think whether we were going to get UPA approved, and a lot of that had to do with, what's the trajectory of the business. And I wanted to do it, but it's just the wrong time and place. And like for me, I put that as step 10, and we're at step 3 right now. It's something I would like to do, but there's so many other steps that need to happen before you get there. And it all comes down to capital, right? When you only have so much, you need to allocate it in the places that you're going to get the most leverage or the most bang for your buck. And going to get a UPA certification right now, unless we had a top pro, it's not worth it, for us. But I would like to get there one day. So yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and back to your point too, coming back in away from, t-shirts, hats, bags, this and that, focusing in on the Mavericks paddle line, the innovation,
yeah,
what goes into that paddle. Not only does it take some time, but when you can dedicate majority of resources there, then market it effectively. And again, I love the increase in the socials that you're seeing, and the paddle itself again looks super sharp.
Thank
That's
you.
going to lead, let's hope, to sustainability. Here we are in year three
Yeah.
plus. So you're doing some
Yeah.
things right.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I had this conversation with my dad a couple of days ago because he asked how everything was going, and I told him, I go, this is year one for Mavericks. The other 3 years, those were the learning years, and that's the place that I'm at now. Is that, and kind of going back to what you're talking about, people coming into pickleball thinking that they could be paddle manufacturers. It's very easy on paper. It's very easy to design a paddle. It's very easy to go get it built and all that. What is not easy, and what people oversee, and what I did not expect, is the actual business part of it. How to actually build a business and scale it. That is the most difficult part, and if you don't have that background, a lot of it's trial and error. And that's why I say for us, this is year one. Not that I know everything. I know a lot more than I did. But you look at a company like Bread and Butter, and I always use him as a measuring stick because Doug obviously has some marketing and business background, and you can see it. Like, yes, they have a great product, but he knew exactly what he was doing. He knows how to grow and scale a business, and it's very apparent. Whereas I see some of these other brands that are doing okay, and I wonder, I don't know that they'll make it over the long haul because I've just kind of stepped back and watched their operation, and I don't think the business will hold up over time. So I don't know. Yeah,
No, great answer. I mean, we certainly know that I don't think pickleball itself has plateaued. Some people want to say that there are still more people playing the game. The game's still growing, not only in our country, internationally. I know that's a place you want to go to. Have you
yeah,
had international success so far with the Mavericks paddles, with the Havik?
yeah. We do. We have a lot of demand overseas in Asia. Shipping costs are what really are the biggest
Okay.
friction point. But like today, I think I shipped out because I'm personally shipping out the international orders because we had some problems with them, and so now I don't take that risk. I do the international orders myself. Anyways, with that being said, yeah, I think I shipped out like 6 international orders today, and one was going to Malaysia, Japan, China. I don't remember where else, but yeah, I mean we're getting sales, worldwide. Not as much as obviously we do here domestically, but we definitely are. And yeah, I mean the presence in Asia is huge, but again, and like yes, I want to get there. And this is the part, in business, everything that I'm learning is I have to hold the reins back on myself. And like, hey, you got to focus here. You got to build the foundation here first, because if you can't build a foundation here, you're not going to build it in Asia. So starting here, focusing on one paddle, that paddle only, nothing else. We're going to build off of that, and then we'll see where we go.
So let's talk about the paddle itself, right? I mean, versus watching a paddle review that everyone could do out there on the socials. It's your
Yeah,
baby. Bring us
yeah.
into it. Break it apart for us. Tell me all about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, let's just start with the shape, and people are starting to kind of become more familiar with it. But that shape was built like that by design, to where we remove weight off the top of the paddle. And then when we have extra weight to deal with or use, now you put that back in the sidewalls of the paddle. And what you essentially get is you can minimize your swing weight to where the paddle's very maneuverable and maximize your twist weight. So now you have a very maneuverable paddle that's very stable. And you could really, I mean, you can kind of do it with other paddle shapes, but you can really maximize that with this paddle shape. So what it's known for is how maneuverable it is. It's an elongated paddle that feels like it swings like a hybrid or a standard shaped paddle. So it's very fast in the hands. And what we were able to achieve with this paddle was we got a swing weight of, I don't know what it was, average of 112 with a twist weight of about 6.4, 6.5, which is crazy to have a swing weight that low and a twist weight that high. And so that was, I think, one of the biggest achievements that we got out of this paddle. Now, with that being said, the core is obviously very unique. Justin Barton designed that. Most of the paddles nowadays we see having an EPP floating core, where you have an EPP center core with EVA ring, and it kind of produces a trampoline effect.
Right.
Well, one of the things that I talked to Justin about was I kept mentioning the lower throat of the paddle, because I catch the ball there a lot. Sometimes, like when I'm spinning or doing a third shot drop, and it's dead on the
And
majority
you,
of paddles.
yeah.
on the majority of paddles, it's dead. And so that was always like my measuring stick when we were testing prototypes. I'd always bounce it right at the throat and see what the energy return was. So Justin took high density EVA foam and he made it into a wishbone shape, tapered it off the bottom, and what that did was it actually pushed the lower EVA foam up more into the throat. And so he was able to essentially take the high density foam and keep it around the perimeter. So
So that
again,
wishbone is at the base going up. Yeah.
yeah, and then the other core is built kind of off of that. So now your whole core is kind of shifted up a little bit, and the result was you're adding perimeter weighting to make the twist weight or the sweet spot bigger, and then also it really increased the rebound on that lower portion of the paddle. And so that was the biggest thing, is top to bottom. And you see all the reviewers mentioning it now, is the sweet spot on this paddle is really big stock at 8 ounces. And one thing we did with this paddle was we have weights that come with it, and so we have a weighting guide.
Okay.
You throw a little bit of weight on this thing, and your twist weight can jump up to almost 7, which
Now,
is
are
crazy.
these slider weights or is it tape?
No, so when you buy one of our paddles, it's kind of cool. So it has the box. Inside the box, there's a QR code. Scan the QR code. It takes you to different setup features. So very easy how to set up your paddle. Weighting. Inside the box, you get 3-gram lead strips. And so we give you 3 different configurations, like ABC. Put your weights in this configuration. Here's what your swing weight and twist weight look like. Put it in here. Here's what your swing weight and twist weight look like. And so that was big to me, because
Kind
the
of like the golf
majority of,
driver, right? If I tweak it this
yeah,
way, it's supposed to promote, maybe this kind of a draw or a higher shot.
yeah, yeah, totally. And I mean, the thing that I saw in pickleball, or I see in pickleball, is that there's a lot of people, like in the circle that I kind of run with, that, yeah, we all know how to put weight on the paddle because it's just kind of what we do. But the majority of pickleball players do not know how to weight a paddle. And so it was important to me that we built a paddle that was lightweight so it could be customized. But I wanted it to land in your hands, to where maybe Mickle, maybe you like a really light paddle. Okay, we'll play with it stock. And so it's very maneuverable. But maybe I want my paddle a little heavier and I want my sweet spot bigger. Okay, well, now I can put weight on it, and I have a diagram here of exactly what to do. And so I I really liked the idea of the customization of the paddle. And so that was really cool. And then we're adding an over grip in there as well. So we try to do everything possible. I mean, between the price point 165 is really good for this
No,
paddle.
really good, Matt. Let's come on. Now, there's more of that
Yeah,
humility that you've learned over
yeah,
time, even though this is the
yeah,
first year of your baby company. At $165, you're at the sweet spot in the market,
yeah.
because
Right.
I haven't swung it yet. I know when I do, it's going to perform like the other Maverix paddles I've played with. And I've talked to enough
Yeah.
people already who tell me
Right.
it's hitting really well. You're at a
Yeah.
perfect, people, 165. It's a brand new foam paddle that's going to play like the big boys. Trust me.
Yeah. 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 No, it does. It plays really well. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, I think that it just finds a very unique spot in the market, and just the way it plays, the way it feels. It's so much different than other paddles. Again, you might not like it. You might not like it. I think generally people do, but we hit the mark of, like, hey, we don't want this to feel the same as everybody else. Yeah, and you're seeing that, like I said, with all the reviews. People are loving this paddle. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
really excited about how it
I
turned
mean,
out.
your timing actually is kind of perfect, because my Havik Pro is starting to wear down a little, so I'm due. So it's I mean, perfect time.
Well, I told you, you have one en route. It'll probably ship with this next drop, so I'll
All
get
good,
that
all
moved.
good. I'll get you my new address offline. One thing you
Oh
got
yeah,
to do for me at some point is find one of your old originals in a box. You got to sign that thing for me at one point. We'll get that done eventually. I'm going to keep needling you. I want a signed Matt Miller paddle, for
yeah,
crying out loud.
yeah,
We'll put that in the Smithsonian of pickleball someday. And so,
yeah, yeah.
having a lot of fun here with Matt from Maverix, the Havik 2, folks. The initial drop sold right out. So, Matt, people can still go to the website and they can pre-order for the next drop, right?
Not pre-order per se.
Or order.
If you yeah get your email. Sign up for our email list, or there's also a notification for when the product comes back in stock. We're encouraging people to do that because we do send out an early. The public time is 8 a.m. Pacific Standard. However, if you're on our email list, you're going to get a notification early, and you will be able to grab that paddle a little bit early. That was important on this last drop because there was so much demand for it. So that's what, yeah, we're encouraging people to at least sign up. They can, see our updates, and we don't send out sales that much. We're not spamming. It's usually messages from me updating you guys on the Havik 2, and I try not to be too spammy with it, but we do send out some sale.
I think you send out an appropriate amount in this day and age of
Yeah,
messaging to folks who put their email address in there and want some
right.
correspondence. And again, I don't think
Yeah,
you're spammy to people at all.
yeah.
Let's
Try not to
let's
be.
look at the fact of the Havik 2 here. We talked a little bit about the pro side of pickleball, but really what sustains pickleball is going to be me, you who love to go out there and play it. And of course, you want to see more people play it and playing it with your paddle. When I go on a macro level,
Hmm.
I don't even know that we've seen the effect yet, even a little ripple of the latest signing of Annalie Whiplash Waters and Nike coming together. What that's going to do, I'm talking down to people like me, people like you, people who know Nike for sure, have heard a little bit about pickleball, and now we're going to go, wait a minute. And again, this could make a whole new pickle revolution again from the rec level because of this huge worldwide recognizable brand and this
Right.
young marketable star. This could be
Yeah.
good for you, just good for
Mhm.
pickleball in general.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's all good, and I think any of these brands coming in, competition or not, it's awesome for the sport, and I think the sport's continuing to grow as we see. But I mean, dude, without even looking at any data to see, if the sport's growing, the fact that companies like Nike or Callaway or Tesla are wanting to dip their toes in pickleball, that means that they see something in it, especially when Nike gets in. They're not just dabbling in some sport that they don't think is going anywhere. When you look at its growth in Asia, what it's doing in all the colleges, it's growing, and I think we're going to look back and
My
realize that we
buddy's
were.
son is on one of the teams down in Tucson at U of A. And so you
Yeah,
know, you mentioned college, and I've been saying, Matt, for a long time, college with NIL and pickleball is in a unique space where these
yeah,
colleges necessarily don't need NCAA. We can club pickleball because some of our college students are pro sponsored. We can put together a cool, team, be very competitive, and they've already been playing collegiate championships. And then you see the high school too. Big high school movement around here in Phoenix. Not sure what it looks like in Southern California. Hopefully, it's
yeah,
following suit. I think it's only going to continue. And eventually, 5, 7, 10 years out, you're really going to see a foundation from high school to college to pro levels. And then what I love too are all these fun other leagues that you can play in as well. I work a lot with the Ultimate Pickleball League, semi pro circuit. Great place for people to come and play, compete, develop. You want to take a shot with the big boys? Go for it. Come play with us
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
How's your
yeah,
game?
yeah. It's good. I sigh because I do not get to play much
That was
anymore.
my follow up was how much can you play? Only when you're at work?
And I mean, even then, it's kind of died down a little bit. I mean, I really do paddle testing, and I'll get out and play here and there, but it's tough when you're in the growth phase of this business, and I already have a busy schedule as it is. If I have 3 hours that I can go play pickleball, it has to be spent on the brand, especially when the brand's in its infancy. So, yeah, I want to get out and play. And I mean, so here's the other part of it. Past couple times that I've gone out and played, because we've tested so many paddles, I quite honestly kind of got burnt out because every time I'm out there, it's business. It's talking about paddles, it's feeling paddles. I never can just like play and enjoy it. It's always like, hey, how's this paddle feel? Let me see that Yola paddle. Let me feel it. So the business start part kind of has taken the fun out. But it comes in ebbs and flows. It'll come back. I'm just kind of on a little bit of a break right now while I'm in this grind phase, and we'll get back to it.
You have to disengage to re-engage. That's one of the most important things you can do. And then you come
Yeah,
back
there you
fresh and
go.
be ready to come back and go. Matt
Yeah,
Miller,
absolutely.
Maverix Pickleball, the Havik 2, folks, is out there available for you. Great paddle. Having a lot of fun talking with Matt about everything pickleball and, of course, the new Havik 2 paddle. Matt, before I
Yeah.
let you go, can you
Yeah.
tease us with anything that might be down the way? I mean, the new paddle just launched. We're not going to mess around with any balls, are we? Are we messing around with any side kind of weights? I see the weights that go on the sides nowadays. I like that you put the tape and the diagram in the box for people like me that can say, "Oh, that's what I should do." Because people, unless you're really, really good at pickleball, you might not be putting the tape in the right spot. And it doesn't hurt you to ask somebody who might be good at your
Yeah.
club to help you or look at the
Yeah.
diagram when you get your new Havix paddle.
Yeah. Yeah. We will absolutely have another paddle that launches this year. I have a goal of August. I don't know. I don't know that we'll hit that. I'm hoping. And then because that paddle is going to be built off of this paddle, we're going to make some changes to this and improvements. So it'll likely be the Havik 3. And then the paddle after that, we're going to hopefully work in parallel. So we're going to start working on two new paddles. One is going to be the built off of this, and then the second one will be, as you know, the goal will be to launch about this time next year, and that will have something much more innovative in the core and grit. So, but the name of the game right now is we are going to keep iterating and tweaking what we have, because there's some feedback that we've got from this paddle, like people want a slightly longer handle and some other things. And so I think we have room for improvement on this, and we can even make it better. But I can tell you right now, it's going to be one paddle at a time. So the next paddle will be, like I said, likely the Havik 3, and that'll just be that. And I want to get to the point where we launch multiple shapes, but we got to baby steps. We're going to get there. We don't want to, it is a lot of capital that gets tied up when you start talking about multiple shapes. And so we want to stay as light on our feet as we can to be able to move quickly.
Having that agility, being able to turn the ship at a moment's notice, that's important, especially with a
Yeah.
small business. You're in your first year. Congratulations. I see big
Yeah.
things on the horizon for Maverix pickleball for sure.
Yeah.
Love the look of the Havik too. Folks, you heard it just now. Could be a Havik 3 in August. We're just going to let it percolate. We're going to let it marinate out there. So when it happens, we're all going to even be more happy to see a new Mavericks paddle out there. But for now, Matt, thanks so much for giving me some time. I know you had daughter's soccer practice. You're busy when you're not doing all things paddles, for hopping on here with me on Pickle with Mickle. It's the third time, folks. Hat trick. Third time's the charm. How about that? And we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I always enjoy catching up with you, and we've had, we've kind of gone through this journey together, kind of worked on some stuff together, done these podcasts, and so I always like connecting with you. And yeah, like I said, we'll get you that Havik paddle probably Monday with that drop, and you'll be playing with it next week. So
Hey, sounds great to me, Matt. I really appreciate the time. And like you said, we have kind of come up in this thing together. Always good to catch up with you.
Absolutely.